So set 2 is finally released, and we're going to continue to do these beginner guides. And today we're going to be talking about Cell. If you know me, obviously my name on Discord and everywhere else is Android, and I do love all the Android stuff. Even Android 17 took it to the box tournament, did pretty well for it, and I think Cell should be in the same sort of vicinity. The only issue now is that green is basically now having some difficult matchups, let's just put it that way, in red and as well as still yellow. I think red is just going to be very dominant in the set 2 meta and is going to struggle just a little bit, not only for Cell but for the other leaders. I think Broly, if you're going to be playing green, is going to be the choice for it. However, today, again, if you are going to be trying to play Cell, just know that, you know, one, the builds are going to be a little bit weird, and two, green is not in the greatest place right now. But yeah, I think I still like Cell. If you didn't notice, of course, you draw on both sides. You do flip over, draw one when you're 4 or less. And the activate main is that you are, if you are at specifically at 5 energy, not 5 or more or 5 or less, you get to ramp 1 at the cost of 3 or more from your drop to your energy. Now, when you read this specifically, or like the first time specifically, you would think it's 5 or more. That's what I thought at first, but obviously because it's only 5 energy, this is specific to the way that the deck goes about, right? So there's a few cards like Cell's Game Arena, and as well as a couple other ramp pieces that's going to help you. And correct me if I'm wrong, again, someone can tell me in the comments, which is very common. I don't believe you can use the energy marker to count as energy. So one of the ways you can get around that is if you play like 4 costs Vegeta, when you are at 5, get the energy marker out and then ramp 1 after using it, or like destructive strength or whatever ramp card that you want to do, and then go to 5 and then use the awaken ability. So things like that you're just going to have to be aware of. Now, when we talk about the current build, or at least the one that I've been playing, this is it, right? So there's a few new cards like the Bulma, which basically says, and if you want to follow along, the deck list is in the description below. The Bulma says if you discard 1, draw 1, and this is important versus like the 1 cost Gohan, as well as the 1 cost Goku, which you can change these. Like, you have a good amount of targets in here, including itself for Gohan, and then for Goku, you do have that inherent draw. Basically, you know, if there's gonna be a lot of red or a lot of things that get rid of 1 cost or 5Ks, then it's gonna be pretty important to consider those things instead, because it's gonna get removed immediately. Plus, this is a 10k combo. You gotta realize those 10k combos are very, very important to have in your hand, since a lot of these cards have 0/0s as well as their extra cards, right? So again, another thing to keep in mind. But for now, specifically for this leader, because you are needing things early on into the game before you awaken, so that way you actually use the ability, you want to go ahead and pitch things into your drop. Plus, if you have dead cards that just don't matter in the matchup, like a 17 or 18 or like a Gohan 7 drop, you can just pitch in and draw 1, right? Those are the things that really benefit you by playing Bulma. Kami just pops a 1 cost, and the reason why I put this now is because of the Master Roshi. So a lot of the testing, shout out to Eric again, we just ended up finding that it's really important to pop the Roshi that takes a life, and as well as just like in yellow, you can pop those. If you're playing blue, if they're playing the Bulma or any of the other 1-drops, or even the mirror, you can take away that combo power as well. So Kami is pretty important in today's meta for set 2, and as well as it's a 10 draw, or it's a 10k, right? It's a 10k in your hand, so it's really good. Moa is interesting, right? So we do play Paragus because it is pretty important that we do awaken on the time that we want to. Plus, this is a 10k combo that's searchable. I got another reason to play Gohan instead. But Moa also gets the new card, Cell's Game Arena, and as well as the other things like Gigantic Meteor, Instant Kamehameha, and as well as Earth Destroying Blow, which I will talk about in a little bit. But that's pretty much the updated things, but it is pretty similar to the green decks, right? You don't really need a completely new deck like TOP Goku. You don't really need all that stuff. I think there is a few things, well, like the Cell Jr., which I'll talk about in a little bit, that is really good and really cool to have this to use in this deck specifically. But I mean, that's the thing. It's just, you don't have to force something that is completely new. For the 8 cost Cell, you know, I like it. You know, I still play Broly in this as a one of, because I think it's just a little bit better for this specific deck because you can use it and it caters to it as the ACOS cell. But you know, Aandroid's Broly is still really good. Cell Game Arena, which we'll talk about, is likely better for draws. You basically reveal the top card and then either ramp it or draw it. I think it's just better for that because, like, on curve, even if you get to it, sometimes you just don't. It is really cool to keep drawing every turn, and as well as ramp, which is just dependent on the situation. You can definitely play this without the Cells Game Arena, but because it is specific to Cell, you may as well give it a try in your early builds, if anything. And for 2-cost Cell, we'll talk about that. These are the new cards that I was talking about, where Cell is, I'm cutting off a little bit, but it is just an android. On play, you take 3 cards from your energy into your drop, and then take KO 2 cards of your opponents, and then add the top card of your deck to your life. And I like this card. On the reveal, I was like, well, you have Broly, you don't really need to play this card. But basically what happens is that if you go from 4 to 3, that's an extra draw, and then you just go back to 4 with this card, or 2 to 3, etc. Right? It's just an extra draw, basically. The other part of it is that, like, because some of the decks that we're going to be going against are going to go pretty wide, and be able to recover a life, and as well as pop 2 things that are going wide or even going tall in the mirror. If you do survive that point, we'll talk about that. It's important to restabilize with this card. Plus, it is a 45k swing, which, you know, is pretty hard to get rid of, and as well as just you're going to take the 45k swing more often than not. Cell Junior is also pretty sick because now what you can do on defense is gigantic. Oh, let me back it up here. So for Cell, because you are placing 3 and paying 8 on 8, you can use the Cell ability for the leader at 5. So basically, because you are the leader specifically says 5, you go down to 5 after paying 8, after putting 3 into your energy into your drop, and then you ramp back to 6. Cells Game Arena allows you to add the card from the top of the deck back into the energy, and then you are at 7. The following turn you are at 8. You can do this all over again. Basically, that's the whole point of the deck. And the only reason why I'm playing at 3 is because I just ran it at, you know, I just ran into 0 costs in my hand so many times. But that's neither here nor there. You can play 4 if you want, if you really want to focus on this sort of combo. Now, Cell Junior, while you have the 8 costs on field, you can pay it without paying the energy costs. It becomes a 10k on field, so you can just defend itself, or you can defend yourself with it, or go into a 55k swing with Cell. But on-playability is adding 1 extra from your drop to your hand. So the bullet that we were talking about before, when you pitch a card and draw 1, now you can get back whatever you want for those extra cards you may pitch that you didn't really need before. So Gigantics, the 2-cost Cell card, etc. Right? So it's just really about pivoting to what you need, and as well as, you know, understanding what you need throughout the game. Now, the part of it is that obviously Cell puts 3 of your energy into your drop. So if you charge like something like a Gigantic or like a Cells Game Arena, which you don't really need, like, you know, if you're playing one, you don't really need one, right? Those type of things, you can get it back, right? You can just get back whatever you did. And again, Cells Game Arena, you switch to rest mode. If you leader to Cell, you can add the top card of your deck after you reveal it, and then add it to your energy. I don't think you have to reveal it because it just says look at the top of your deck, so you don't have to reveal it. And then add it to your energy, so you can draw 1 or add it to your energy. I think this is the way to play the deck for sure. If you deviate from playing like 8 costs and everything else, like if you just stick with Insta Kamehameha or maybe just Cells Game Arena or whatever, I think it just doesn't work as well. I think you should begin trying this combo and then going from there. If you deviate from it, try other green leaders, right? We have a few now, so I just don't see why you would not play this deck, or at least the leader. Before we get into these considerations, again, some of the things, if you haven't played green before, you know, what you want to open with is the top 3 cards. You know, you want to mulligan for one of these, right? If you're going against red, probably Kami, which is what you want in hand. If you're going against really anything else, Moa as well as Bulma will be able to find the pieces that you want. Cells Game Arena going first or second is pretty decent. The only issue I found in general for this is that if you're not playing Destructive Strength, then you're not really using your energy, right? But adding in Destructive Strength will change the build as well. So going second is pretty important to use the energy marker, right? And you know, that's one of the things that I'm trying to figure out as far as this deck goes. You know, what are you doing on turn 3 if you're not going second? And usually that is the Bulma, that is the Kami, that is the Moa. You can play Paragus to take a life as well if they take it down to 4, and then you could just awaken on your terms. The following turn, you can use your ability after you use 4 cost Vegeta, etc. Right? And you know, outside of a destructive strength, there's really not very many other things that you could do on turn 3. So if you do run into that issue, try destructive strength, maybe replace the Earth's destroying blow and maybe a couple other 0 cost cards. But that's my suggestion. I would just say be patient with the deck and as well as yourself when you're playing it. Some of these other decks are going to be a little fast for you, but that's all right. If you're playing against yellow, or if you're playing against blue, or if you're even playing against green, it's probably fine. But again, destructive strength, probably one of the things that you want to consider. Turn 4 and beyond, that can mean Vegeta, that could mean Cell's Game Arena, that could mean childhood Gohan, and as well as Turles. The reason why I put these two guys in is because when you're at 5 and Awakened, you basically can play both of these guys and either pop something and have a 30k on body, or use Turles and swing 30k, have an extra, ramp 1 with leader, go to 6, have Turles ramp you to 7, and then the following turn go to Cell, right? That's the whole idea with that. And in practicality, it's pretty good. And again, 17-18, still a good double striker. 7 cost Gohan. You could probably play 2 if you really want to, if you don't want to play like a 50-51 card deck. It can definitely save you in certain circumstances, and as well as regulate the game. So that way the following turn you can play Cell and as well as Broly. And then other pieces like Insta Kamehameha will regulate your energy to use your leader ability whenever you want. Now, okay, it's consideration. So Trunks is a cool card, but it costs 4. If it was a 3 cost 40,000 card, it would be pretty cool. The reason why you would play this card in this deck is because it places 1 card from your energy into your drop, and you can use things like the other Android stuff, and as well as the leader effect to continue to get back that energy. And you just have a 40k swing every single turn. Plus, you can play multiple of these, which I don't really recommend. 1 is a 5k combo, and 2, you would be placing 1 energy or 2 energy, however many you have on field, or on field from your energy into your drop, and you don't really want that. Gohan and future Trunks, you know, I don't think I have enough playtime with these guys. I think conceptually it might be okay, right? So when you awaken, you're at 5, you use leader effect, you use Gohan, you pop a 3 cost, or you play the Trunks right after, you ramp 1 again, and then you can just use the Trunks effect right after. So you have a 30k swing, 20k swing afterwards, etc. Now, the issue is basically finding the curve for that. So I guess the idea when you play this combo, which you're more than happy to do that, is that Destructive Strength goes turn 3, Cell on turn 4, Cell Game Arena on turn 4, and then Future Gohan, Future Trunks, and then Cell afterwards. So the big Cell. That's my idea. If you're going to play that, I'm going to explore that when it comes down to the digital client and things like that. So that's how I see it. I don't have enough practice for it. I would definitely consider it if you like that combo. Finally, Senzu Bean, Strategy, and Ginger Town, and as well as Krillin. So Senzu Bean's cool. I do like Senzu Bean. I don't think it's enough. And the reason why I say that is because if you're going to be playing this in this leader, you probably should be playing this in Broly. Becoming a 30k leader is super important against things like TOP Goku and literally in the entire field. I don't think paying 2 is going to be all that great in comparison to paying 2 for Earth Destroying Blow, which we were talking about at the bottom, which basically says if you have 6 or more energy, well, 1, you get 25k for 2. For the activate battle on either turn, which is awesome. And the other effect is that you reveal the top card. It's a Cell's Game Arena effect. Reveal the top card, add it, or rest it in your energy if you have 6 or more. So it's cool to have cards like Senzu Bean, but I don't think it's going to be good in this leader. Maybe if the meta changes, I highly doubt it. I think TOP Goku is just way too strong to consider anything else. So that is just something you have to find out on the hard way, basically. Strategy is interesting as far as paying 3, and then having things like Bulma, having things like Gohan, and I think what else is there? I think there's one more Earthling that you can play, like the 1-drops that you play. Basically choosing any number of your battle cards and Earthling the special traits and add them to your end of your rest mode. So basically you're hoping that 1, those things survive before you actually use this 3 cost extra card. 2, I mean, post turn 3 or post the time that you actually do use this, how effective is it going to be, right? Like the best case scenario is like paying a 1 cost early on, paying 3 to put these guys into your energy, and then going the following turn, not charging, and then using the awaken leader ability and hoping that you awaken, right? So I don't really see this being all that great, but that's just me. And then finally, Krillin. Look at the top 5 for an Android 18 or an extra card, which would be great in this deck. And I actually tried this out, especially since you play 17 and 18, and you can play the 2-drop 18 as well. But because it's a 0/0 cost, it's kind of ass. So it's just like so many instances where you just have this late game and you just don't want to pay 2 for it because you just want to play literally anything else. And it's just not worth it, because like, sure, you can play it, find a gigantic, sure, you can find something else, but it's just not going to be great over time. So I opted not to play it. But that's my guide for Cell. Again, if you're starting out, I would probably start out with that, maybe switch over to the Gohan Trunk stuff, and you know, find yourself in the other Japanese builds as well, because I think there are some coming out with their early events over this weekend, and as well as this coming week. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.